Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. Why don't we have pink ladies jackets?
I don't know. You know what? I was a pink lady one year for Halloween,
Do they
but
still have pink
then
lady jackets?
they still make them. Yeah, but then when I was rewatching, Rizzo says something about Sandy. She's too pure to be pink, and I was like, ooh, that actually might be me.
Not me. Hi, everyone. It's Still Comfy with Nat and Jules. I'm Natalie Katona, your host of To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. You're on my YouTube channel. And if you are on our YouTube channel, you need to leave a comment because we're using a third party system and we won't know that you're here unless you say hello. Jules, take it.
Hello, friends. I'm Julia Washington, your host of Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous, where we analyze pop culture through the lens of race or gender and sometimes both. And to mirror what Natalie said, please tell us you're here. And if you're watching the replay on YouTube, you can still comment
You can
in
still
real
answer the
time.
questions.
You can still answer the questions because we'll probably go back and read them and respond to you.
We will.
Mostly
I have
because
nothing
YouTube,
better to do.
yeah, well, and YouTube notifies us when
Yeah,
they're
it
like,
gives
hey,
us
new
an
comments.
email. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, lady, someone likes you. And I'm like, really? They do? Really?
You like me.
You
You
like me?
really like me.
We will be discussing. I didn't. 1977 is that when this movie?
78.
78.
You were close.
We will be discussing the musical movie 1978 Grease, starring Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta. What? How did I just say his name? I said it like he said Idina Menzel's name, where I was
Well,
just like, "This is his name."
so my dad used to call him John Revolta when we were growing up.
Oh,
That's why
that
I chuckled, because that's
that
how I
makes sense.
heard his name growing up.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think he falls into my category of they really don't care if the man can sing on these musical movies. I was watching it. I was like, can John Travolta not sing? Was I lied to?
I don't know. I'm just so used to it that I have no opinion.
Right. It's like you just remember that he was able to sing and that it was sexy and he was
Yeah.
hot.
Well, he
But
was
then
hot in those tight little pants. When I was looking
in,
at him this time, I was like,
in his little
I
short
would
shorts.
100% send the drink he sent me back and be like, no, thank you, sir. I'm not interested.
Right. But would you?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna.
Kaneki could send over all the drinks.
Ew. Okay. This brings me to my first point. This has never taken my focus off of the movie before because I was a child. But this go around, I couldn't not notice that they were all 40. And then I
Oh,
looked up their actual ages and they were
100%.
all in their early 30s, late 20s. And I was like, but you all look like you're 47.
Yeah, Olivia Newton-John was 31, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rizzo was 33. So I
Yeah.
would like this to count as my audition for the next time we're doing Grease.
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm just so confused about when it comes to Hollywood. Because on the one
Mm-hmm.
hand, we have people who probably should be playing parents of preteens being teenagers.
Right.
And then on the other hand, we have people who are way too young to be playing high school kids playing like there's no like
There's no.
true happy middle.
Where's the
But
median?
like because even with like 90210, like Tori Spelling was like 15, 16, but the rest of the cast was not.
No.
And same with like My So-Called Life. Like
One Tree
everyone
Hill
was,
that we covered all of
yeah,
season 1 for. They are all in their 20s except for James Lafferty.
yeah. And I understand to an extent because the rules are different when you have, actors under 18 and like how much work they can actually do. With that said, you have now convinced me that I could play a high school student.
And I will. There
And
are worse things I could do.
And
There's my
to add
audition.
to this, when I was moving my child into college this last weekend, we were asked multiple times, which one of you is moving in?
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm really convinced. I
What?
will
Okay.
happily play a college age or a senior in high school.
What high school role do you want to take on? Because I've already decided Rizzo.
I'll be Sandy.
You want to be Sandy? I
I
was
could
gonna
totally
let
be
you
Sandy.
do any movie, but you know, if you want to be Sandy, hold on. Is
Oh,
that
are we
him?
referencing this particular movie or
It
like
can be
in
any. It can
general?
be anyone.
Ooh. Ooh, that's a bigger question. That's harder to answer. That's harder to answer, Natalie. I have to think about that a little bit deeper. Television shows that take place in high school that I would love to be on. Gossip Girl,
Oh,
the
yeah.
reboot.
Uh-huh.
But I'd want to be an adult in that one because I find Luke Kirby attractive. So I'd want to have an excuse to make out with him. I know
Uh-huh.
I know your opinions. You've judged me. It's fine.
I've judged you on so many men this episode already.
I know we're like 5 minutes in.
I don't
She's
want a
already
hickey from Kaneki. I don't care if it's like a Hallmark card.
I'd have to, you know what? I got to get back to you on that answer because that's a big question.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, my actual first question was because we open up to love is a many splendor thing, and they're jumping around in the ocean.
Yeah.
They're not naked or making out. They've just like spent a summer looking at one another on the beach, I guess.
I mean, that's romantic too.
It is romantic. And I wondered, I was like, I wonder if Danny was like happy for the break from his like greaser lifestyle and having to be the leader of his dumbass friends.
I mean, if that's not a rhetorical question, I'm going to answer it because I
Yeah,
think he was happy.
I think he was
And I
happy.
think it's validated when he's so excited to see Sandy when she comes back,
Right.
when they're at the football game. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not just oh, I'm so happy to see you because I also love you. It's like this whole rush of memories of not having to be this macho, machismo, gross guy. Like she let him be who he really is.
Yeah. Um, Over last week or the weekend, I was on the phone with my friend and I did say out loud, I just don't think anyone understands what it's like and how exhausting it is to be the coolest person that you know. And then her little girl who had just gone to the second grade, who's always doing hot girl shit too, she was like, I know, right? And she didn't even say it like she was trying to be funny.
She's like
She said it like she was
empathetic.
tired. Like she was 45 years old, chain smoking and tired.
Oh, chain smoking.
She's like, I know, right? I was like, it is. I was like, it is. It's a lot of pressure to be the coolest person that you know.
It really is. I don't know if I'm the coolest person I know,
Well,
but I do know that I have run in some pretty cool crowds.
it's just
So
exhausting.
it can be, yeah.
It is exhausting to be the people who have to make sure that everyone's having a good time, to make sure that you're the coolest, that you're dressed the coolest, that you're
just letting all
just
the
casually taking photos.
Instagram people to
Um,
tune in
just
now.
like literally like to be like Danny Zuko is exhausting. Like Kaneki gets it off easy because he gets to pretend like he's very cool, but he is the second. Like
He's
in the
number 2
next
in
life,
command. Yeah.
yeah. In the next life, I would like to be the second. I would like to be the LeFou to someone's Gaston, if you will.
You're better than LeFou though. LeFou is the LeFool.
LeFou. But yeah.
I feel like, okay, here's the thing. They're all dumb, but Kaneki's the hottest one, in my opinion. Because Danny looks great in tight pants, teeny
Mm-hmm.
tiny tight pants. But Kaneki's got this whole like, I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is either because he has like
We'll still be friends, Natalie. Just say it.
I don't know. It's something about his face. He's not as bad as the guy who drives like the bad car, the bad man in the
Oh,
bad
they
car.
call the one they actually call
Actually
Crater
called
Face.
Crater Face. But I'm
Yeah.
like, Kaneki, you need to put some more cream on your face before you just go slinging accusations.
Well, he's 30, so um so I was looking up the play because it's a musical,
It
a
was a
stage musical
musical.
first.
I've seen it.
But okay, here's what I learned. The first run of the show was so vulgar and so over sexualized that like for the so with every season that it runs, it gets diluted down more and more.
They've
So
taken
I'm a
out You're the One That I Want. They don't do it in Indiana. That's the last time I saw Grease live, and I waited because that's the best one.
how do you not? That's literally the song that makes I mean, I know that there's Grease is the word, but
And
no.
then my sister tried to be like, well, that one was the one that was written for the movie. And I was like, shut up. That was hopelessly devoted to you. Like, I don't know my Grease facts.
So I'm over here like, well, I want to see the original 1971 version that was deemed so vulgar
The movie is pretty
because
vulgar.
the movie is pretty fucking vulgar.
Yeah. I was telling my therapist today, I was like, like, number one, Grease was like the first PG-13 movie that I got to watch behind my parents' back. So it was
Love
like the
that.
one that no one signed off on. And then like my Aunt Melissa was like, we're going to watch Grease. And then she like got me the soundtrack. And I used to perform said soundtrack to all of my stuffed animals with my karaoke machine.
The movie soundtrack, right? Not the
Yes,
stage.
the movie soundtrack. I played all of the roles. It did convince me that I could sing, and you're welcome because I sing on every episode now of the show. So you can blame my aunt. We blamed her for things before.
Or we could thank her. It's
Or we could
really
thank her.
all about
Or we
perspective.
could all get her something for Mother's Day. I don't know.
Yeah.
But watching it as a 30-year-old, because then it also becomes one of those things that you put on the background, but you go into like a fugue state because you're like, I've seen Grease 18 times. I don't need to pay attention to what she's saying. I know what's going to happen. I know the beats.
Yeah.
And so then you have to pay attention to it because I have to write an outline for a show. And I'm like, Rizzo, what the fuck did you just say about relish?
Yeah. She'll eat that hot dog.
She'll eat that hot dog.
Which is a euphemism.
Which is a euphemism. Everything that Rizzo says is a bad euphemism.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this how they got like through the censors? They were like, they're talking about hot dogs, but they're really talking about dick. Like,
I mean, but in Grease Lightning, he's like, the chicks will cream for Grease Lightning. And
Grease
I'm
Lightning
like, how the shit did that not get axed?
Grease Lightning was my favorite one to perform to my stuffed animals in my bedroom because you got to do the motion, go Grease Lightning, they're coming down the Grease. I don't even know. Grease Lightning.
Yeah.
Grease Lightning, go Grease Lightning. But yeah, chicks will cream. I didn't know they said we'll get their tits or they'll show their tits or something for Grease Lightning. We'll get the tits for Grease Lightning. It's what I had to, because I was, this might be the first time I've watched the movie with captions.
Yeah.
And I was like, John Travolta, what did you just say?
Yeah.
About that car.
You know, our local like art house in town does a sing-along version, and I've never gone because the frenzy of the Grease people, because as you know, and me and your the listeners on your show won't know this, but the listeners on my show will know this. George Lucas is from my town, and American Graffiti is his, a film he did.
Your entire town is greasers.
Yeah, and so we cruising. It's a whole thing. The month of June, you come, you see cars. It's a whole thing devoted to it. So Grease has a different impact in Modesto because it's like an extension of the American Graffiti life.
Oh
and
God.
Like so I've never gone to the sing along because I'm just scared that it's gonna be like, it's
going to be men who really think that they're John Travolta,
or just like, really pitchy, squealy.
Oh, it's going to be that. But now there's nowhere to hide.
I should go next time they do it, and then like go live.
And you should be live. Listen,
I'm scared.
Listen, I sing my pitchy little heart out to Hopelessly Devoted to You. And have you ever seen that song about a crush? Like, have you ever been like real down in the dumps?
Yeah.
Because like you had to go to a school dance alone and you watched your crush be with someone else at the dance. And then you waited until you got home to like softly cry and be like, but now there's nowhere to hide.
Don't get me wrong. I'm here for a sing along. I'm just like, the fanaticism is what scares me.
Grease is the word, and you heard. It's got groove, it's got feeling.
Yeah. The other thing too, like the overt, like obvious, like women are clearly here for one thing and one thing only. Like when Rizzo says to Sandy, true love and he didn't lay a hand on you sounds like a creep to me. No, Rizzo.
No,
No,
Rizzo.
that's not
I
right.
get it though. I get that like Rizzo's just down for a good time and like give it up to the girls who want to fuck. Like I get it.
No,
But
I'm not saying that's not
yeah.
what I'm saying, Natalie. I'm saying that the dance moves, especially at the end when homeboy's like doing this to Frenchie
Oh
and
yeah,
like you know how Danny's constantly forcing himself on Sandy and
yeah.
she's
Yeah.
like, Danny, no. Like,
I,
no, Danny. Like he's a
no,
dog.
Danny.
Pop him on his nose. Bad boy. Bad Danny.
I'm just saying that as a person who has religious trauma, it's one of the episodes. Check it out. We've got a viewer. Let's see if they've commented. Because
Woo,
I'm on the wrong
hello.
screen.
Hello, viewer.
Oh,
Tell
yeah.
us
Tell us who
where
you
you're
are.
from.
Um, but anyways, as someone who has religious trauma, check it out. It's one of the episodes. um, I feel like dating hasn't changed that much from Greece. I feel like you're
No.
still going to a
Yeah.
bad diner.
Yeah.
That guy can't pay for your Sunday. If his dudes are there, he will be an asshole to you.
Yeah.
And he's still going to feel like he has the audacity to feel you up
Yeah.
because he took you to the drive through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd rather you'll get stranded at the drive-in
Right.
if you're gonna try and fill me up and it's only the second date. Well, I don't know, I'm a grown-up now, so that might be different. But 20 years ago, I probably would
Yeah,
not
I
have
don't
been
got time to
20 years
play.
ago.
Yeah.
20 years ago, I would have been like, Sandy, Danny, how dare you? And then when she slams the door, I didn't understand until I was an adult that
Oh, that he was hard.
yeah.
And I was like, oh. I was like, because you're like, it couldn't have hit him that much. Like doors latch.
Yeah.
Like they stop. It's not like they just keep going and you're like, oh, it's because he was hard.
He's hard. Yeah. Ooh. Like how was I allowed to ever watch this?
I don't know. I would like for everyone, whether you're listening to the replay or being here right now, I want you to tell us your favorite dirty part of Greece.
Yes, there's so many. The whole movie.
Right.
It's just the whole movie.
I cringed the entire time, but it's the Vince Fontaine. It's the Vince Fontaine for me. When he gets up there and does like the and he kicks.
Or like, did you catch when Marty said, I caught Vince Fontaine putting something in my drink? I
Putting
forget
an aspirin.
Aspirin. I was like, this movie is literally a cautionary tale, but it's so idolized as the perfect whatever that I'm just like, I don't think I can do this anymore, you guys.
I can do it. Because at this point it's just funny. And then like I kept focusing on, the two Dannys in the film where it's like he could really hold his shit together during alone time with Sandy. What's up, Mario? Mario's here.
What up, Mario? Glad
Mario,
to see you, pal.
What's your favorite dirty line or part from Grease? Mine's Vince Fontaine, just the entirety of Vince Fontaine.
The audacity of Vince Fontaine.
The audacity of Vince Fontaine, because I was a Marty who just wanted to be with whatever like talented old person was in the room. I'm like, what have you got going? Yes.
Oh, I wish I could like comment back to Mario, but I can't. It won't let me.
What if I show it?
Mario's on the ticker.
He's on the ticker. But yeah, like so it's Vince Fontaine for me, but I kept focusing on the two Dannys because Danny could only be a person if Kaniki wasn't around. And I was like, every guy I've dated is like this. Every guy just like waits to hold all of his nasty until his friends are around, and then he's talking to me some stupid way, and he's stunting some stupid way, and he's grabbing my ass some stupid way, and I'm like, who are you?
You know what's interesting though? We never see Kaneki and Rizzo outside of them fighting. So we don't know anything other than them fighting. Frenchie
Friendship
and
and
why
why she
she's
isn't
yeah.
doing that. That is a good part. Oh my god, and how she smokes like a French girl.
There we go.
Oh my gosh. Um, you're right. We don't see, number one, there was
Because
more.
they're making out in his car, which is a pile of crap. So that's like the only intimate times we
Yeah.
see them. But with Danny and Sandy, we see them being a couple.
Well,
Like,
and Kaneki was like a little bit heartbroken when Rizzo didn't want to see him anymore. Like he really
yeah.
like he felt that. He
Yeah.
felt that when she was like, "Do not worry, you are not the one that knocked me up. You are clearly the one who knocked her up, Kaneki.
Yeah.
You just had
Yeah.
the wrong um reaction at a drive-through or a drive-in."
Drive-in.
But there were two instances where I wanted more hot goss. I wanted more hot goss about Rizzo and Zuko's hinted at relationship. I was like, I would just like for there to be one scene where Frenchie or Jan pulls Sandy over and they're like, so here's what happened. Because
Yeah.
Rizzo is like volatile about ruining Danny's good time.
Yeah.
And I would like to know why. I would like,
Yeah.
and I bet you it has something to do with that cha-cha girl.
And like this is why I want to see the very first original Chicago
Yeah.
version of Grease,
Yeah.
because I was reading that they like for the movie they took out, and I've seen the stage production, but now that I know it's like a watered down
Yeah.
version, I'm irritated because like they where was I going with this?
I don't know. Someone get the original script and let's do it. Let's make a show.
The 1971 Chicago version. That's what we're
That's what we
asking
need.
for.
We need it. I need to know
Oh,
what went down with Rizzo and Danny. Let's all speculate together.
well, and to add, I remembered my train. They were saying in the article I was reading about how like Grease 2 was supposed to also be sort of like, here are all the characters that were in the original production that didn't make it into the movie. So like this is their like parts of the story. And I haven't seen Grease 2 in a long time. You and I've had this conversation. So I don't remember anything from Grease 2.
It's a great movie. I need everyone to know right now that I will go to my grave being like, Grease 2 is a great movie. And the songs are good. Because in Glee, Ryan Murphy had to come for it and be like, and Finn was like, remember when we watched Grease and then we watched Grease 2 and you didn't know why no one liked Grease 2? And I told you it was because the songs aren't as good in Grease 2. And I was like, the songs are good in Grease 2. It is a fun movie, Mario. I'm
It's
putting
Michelle
that on the
Pfeiffer,
screen.
right?
Uh-huh.
And the guy who's Rex Manning, right?
Yeah.
From Empire Records.
Yes.
It's Rex Manning Day.
It's Rex Manning Day.
Oh, Rexy, you're so sexy.
Yeah. So they sing that Cool Rider song. A cool
Oh,
rider,
yeah.
a cool. Also, Grease 2 is the only way I got sex ed through that reproduction song. Reproduction.
I think I've only seen this movie once. I think I've only seen Grease 2 once.
And then they do the Girls for All Seasons for the talent show, and then she sings about how her cool rider is dead. And then they do, God. And then the kind of like Marty and other goofy guy couple. Oh, I also like Let's Bowl, Let's Rock and Roll. I also enjoy that song. I sing it every time I'm about to go bowling. I'm like, let's bowl, let's rock and roll. And people are like, what the fuck? You got a theme song for bowling? I was like, Grease 2, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But the ones that are like the foil for like Marty and that horrendous looking man that they pair up Marty with in the movie is they have another couple, and it's during the like Red Scare. So her boyfriend, like, he has the other greasers like crank a siren, like an alarm siren, like the commies are coming siren. And and then they rush to the bomb shelter that his parents or her parents have set up or whatever. And he tries to convince her that they need to have sex because what if they're the only people who are left because they made it to the bomb shelter? And it's this whole song called Let's Do It for Our Country.
Oh my God.
It's the first time I felt like an American. Let's do it for our country. Our
Oh my
country
God.
wants us to.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little intense. So back to Greece.
We
The
are
first
talking
one.
about Greece.
The first one.
Okay,
The
fine.
first one.
I want to know what happened with Danny and Rizzo, and I wish that the sequel had cleared that up.
Yeah, I think what happened with Danny and Rizzo is they hooked up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
Yeah.
backseat of a car situation. He's not even classy enough to like take her to a motel room and lie about being married.
Right. Without taking her to a hotel room and lying about being married.
There was a movie that came out in the like 70 years ago, 75, 80 years ago that was part of the that was part of the plot. Like the young 20 something teenage couple wanted to do it. So they went to a hotel and like pretended to be a married couple.
Oh, you
so
know
they
what?
could rent a room together because they wouldn't be rented a room if they weren't married.
We're married. You know what? I am so glad fell by the wayside for Grease 2 and for every movie after 1977. Thank God we don't have the voracious making out fake moans that Rizzo and Kaneki perform on when they're parking. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. Yeah. And what's her face and Crater Face too? Like when Cha-Cha, when he like grabs her violently behind the head, which is normally a very hot move to have the hand, and he just makes it abusive and then pulls and then like eats her face.
I know that there are movies where the makeup. Oh, it's Crybaby. Crybaby is the movie that I am thinking of. I'm like, what's the movie that I'm thinking of where the makeout scenes are even grosser? And it's world-renowned Johnny Depp starring movie, Crybaby.
I haven't seen that movie in forever. I honestly couldn't tell you what happened because it's been so long and I've probably only seen it once.
Oh no, I used to watch Crybaby every time it was on TV. I own it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I love that Frenchie is the voice of reason for the entire movie, and she's like, "Men are rats, Sandy," and I was like, "This just in, men are rats, Frenchie." Like
Frenchie's the best.
She's the best.
And you know, she's so innovative. Like she's ahead of her time because I mean, she didn't know that pink hair would become cool one day.
Right.
She was a trailblazer.
Right. And she like, for one thing, I love that like they are watching Sandy like be nice to that Annette girl. And Frenchie's like, I don't know. Do you think she could be a pink lady? Like she's just been waiting for eons for another nice person to be in their friend group. And I'm like, because like Marty and Jan, I love Jan. Brush on, brush on, brush. I love Jan. Still clocked the line where he told her that he thought she was more than fat.
I wrote that down as a thing. Like Jan's not fat through this whole fucking movie. She's not fat, but they put a big bulky sweater on her and make her talk about how she can't eat pie and then like all these things, and she's a fat girl, and then suddenly she's skinny at the end of the movie when they're doing the final number
because her diet worked.
Because the diet worked. I'm just like, you know what, Hollywood, fuck you.
Yeah, it's bad enough when you order your food at a restaurant and the guy that you're with is like, damn, you can eat. I can, in fact, eat.
I can, in fact, eat this entire large pizza to myself.
I can't. It's going to make me violently ill later, and I'm going to have to drink copious amounts of ginger tea. But for right now, I feel like I can do it. You're correct.
Yeah.
But I love Frenchie. Beauty School Dropout used to be the song on the soundtrack that I would skip.
Really? Why?
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't like him. I thought it was a boring song.
You didn't like, what's his name? Frankie Avalon?
No, I did not.
He's like the beach movie guy, and Nat
I know
and Frankie,
he's in That Thing You Do, isn't he? Don't they bring him in for That Thing You Do to be like some asshat on when they're doing the movie on the beach.
Oh, I don't remember that. I just
don't
assumed
know.
it was that scene was based on the Frankie and Annette movies.
Oh yeah. I do like, so I always clocked Rizzo in the beauty school dropout scene. I
And
assume
Marty.
that Marty was up front, but I finally saw Jan this go around. I was like, there she is. It is all of them.
Yeah. Beauty school drop.
Well,
I felt bad for Frenchie too, because like she was like, I'm just having a hard time in all my classes. And you're like, yeah, girl, because beauty school's harder than it looks.
Right. Oh, see, Mario agrees with me. It was his least favorite song too.
Oh, maybe because it's more ballad like, and that's why I like it. I
It's
like
just
ballads.
slow.
Yeah, I like the slow. I think beauty school dropout in choir was the easiest one for me to sing, and that's why I wasn't like about to pass it up.
All right. Well, the easiest one to sing for me is Hopelessly Devoted to You.
Oh my God. Did you see the video of that Mariah Carey posted in tribute to Olivia Newton-John of them singing together?
No.
Oh, I'm gonna send it to your DMs right now.
Okay.
I still get emotional.
Speaking of Hopelessly Devoted to You, I remember her being next to a water feature when Danny's head pops up into the water and it was a fucking kiddie pool. I was like, why did I make up this entire pond in my head? Anytime someone had a pond, like a water feature in their backyard, I would wait until everyone would go and then I would sing Hopelessly Devoted to You softly to myself. Also, I don't know if you all clocked this, but Sandy is a witch. She wrote Danny a letter, and then to cleanse him from her soul, she soaked the letter in a baby pool. That's a cleansing ceremony. She's one of mine.
She's one of yours.
She's one of mine.
She's one of us.
She's one of mine. But yeah, I love Hopelessly Devoted for You. Okay. Here's the question of the evening, though. Do we fault, because all of the fault and blame as to why Grease is quote unquote detrimental to women always falls.
I was just say horny as fuck.
Well, yeah, but also always falls to Sandy making the change to be sexy for her man. But Danny started it.
Danny started it. Sorry for that loudness. And again, in my reading, apparently what was typical at the time, 71 and earlier, was men changing and conforming for women.
Yeah.
To be softer.
Yeah.
And so Grease was like, well, we're going to flip that script.
And you know what? Good on her for having a hoe revolution. Like, she had a whole-lution.
I don't think she keeps it up, though. I don't think it lasts beyond that one scene, because it's
leather
hard.
Is so unforgiving.
Yeah, the minute she has to go to the bathroom, those pants are staying off.
And like the amount of curl in her hair, I was like, you don't like smoking that much, Sandy.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that you're like, because what I think it's overlooked, as you were saying, is Danny's transition throughout the whole movie. Like, it's not easy to let her in a sport.
No. But he somehow did it, even though he chain smoked the entire time he ran a lap.
Well, okay, listen. As a former smoker who, if misses smoking every single fucking day, don't start smoking because you will miss it every day. I was a runner and a smoker at the same time.
Wow. So yeah,
I'm not saying that you can cheat your lungs out of it, but if you do enough breathing exercises, like that's the thing. Like, I understand they're like, oh, it's terrible for your lungs, but what they don't tell you is that there are ways to like still keep your lung capacity strong while being a smoker. It's like still eating fucking ice cream every day and going to the gym. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's eating in theory, they tell us eating ice cream and junk food every day is going to make us fat. But if you're countering those calories with some sort of like intense workout, so they can't store up and become fat, like it's true for, I'm going to get canceled. The American Lung Association's coming at me.
People still smoke. People still smoke. I go out into the world and I still see. Did I tell you that during COVID, I forgot that cigarettes were a thing and I thought that everyone vaped it now? So the first time that I saw a lit actual cigarette. I was like, we still do this?
Thing. Whenever I see older, like 45-year-old to 50-year-old smoking, I'm always like, but we're like, you guys, like 45 and under, we're the generation that they heavily did anti-smoking campaigns.
Yeah.
Like, how did this happen?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know how people pick up their first
Big
cigarette.
tobacco. That's how it happened, because tobacco money is in everything.
Is it capitalism?
I'm convinced capitalism exists because of big tobacco, because tobacco money is literally in everything.
Well, yeah.
If I'm murdered tomorrow, you know it was big tobacco.
Why? You said that you can still be a track star. She's a track star, and she can still have a cigarette afterwards or during.
Or during. Time periods. There's time periods. God, but smoking every day.
I don't like smoking. I don't. It, like, for one thing, I probably have undiagnosed asthma layered right on top of my undiagnosed ADHD. And so, like, it just hurts. And then it doesn't taste good. And I'm like, oh, God.
I'm not. I could go into a whole thing about cigarette quality and what's better than not, but we don't want to do that. Time. We don't want to encourage and endorse.
But my whole point is that Danny tried first to change himself, and Sandy just stuck the landing.
Yeah,
like she just stuck
Frenchie, can you help me? I can't do an Australian accent.
Can you help
me? With something? P.S. Why the fuck was she in her socks at the car race? Like, that's so gross. Shoes? She had her shoes off. They were sitting next to her. So then after Frenchie comes over and is like, oh, hi, Sandy, how's it going? She's like, oh, hi, Frenchie, I need your help with something. And then, like, as Frenchie's walking away, she's putting her Keds back on. And I'm over here like, why were your shoes off? Why?
You think it was one of those stupid directing calls that they make sometimes when they're like, it will make you look relaxed, Sandy? Or that you were so nervous you kicked off your shoes.
And then people like me who don't even allow shoes in my house would never walk in stocking feet outside.
Oh my God. I mean, I guess let's talk about the big transformation. I'm all for, because here's another thing that Grease could be an allegory for. So, like, Sandy was the prime example of everything that a girl in that time period was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then Rizzo was all of the girls that your mom and dad told you to stay away from.
Yeah, because you don't want to grow up to be a Rizzo.
And then she has like a pregnancy scare, and everyone's like, of course Rizzo's having a baby. Yeah. Like, so anyways, and then, so Sandy, like, again, just like it is so much pressure and so exhausting to be the cool one, it is just as much pressure and just as exhausting to be the pure one.
Yeah.
And the good one.
Yeah.
And the one that's always trying to tell your friends, like, what if we were good people today? What if we weren't a bunch of trash mouths? Like, Chrissy never looked like she was relaxed and now and then. So I think what part of, like, Grease did with the Sandy character was it allowed women to be like, you can be both in the same lifetime, if not the same day.
Yeah.
Like, you can say no as many times as you want, but you can also, like, lean into the hoe.
Yeah. And I think that it's okay. Like, I wrote down this thing. I was like, how could we go from being a horny as fuck society to this completely repressed situation when we know that education about all the things actually leads to better decision making?
I don't know. I heard that we're blaming Reagan. I can't remember why.
I know we blame Reagan because for AIDS spreading the way it did. That I do know.
We just blame Reagan for anything. And, like, if anyone could answer the question, I'll make it a question. Like,
yeah.
Who made America such a prude?
Puritans?
Well, I mean, they were the first ones.
Yeah.
But they're not around anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, too, like, I don't know, was it scary or something? Like, again, it goes back to the more you have conversation and educate about a certain issue, the less likely, like, you'll make poor decisions. And that's the thing that's kind of frustrating for me, because like people don't want to talk about sex.
No.
Like there are even parts of like it, I'm the age that I am and I'm finally comfortable with having conversations, but I still have weird and awkward
Right.
conversations with my
you
kid. Like
do
it's
you
like,
guys
here's this
still
awkward conversation about sex.
do you guys still lie awake at night and wonder if you're still having sex wrong and like you still haven't figured out the mechanics? It's like, am I having sex incorrectly?
No, I've never actually worried. I've never had that problem.
Okay, well, let me tell you about something in Indiana. None of my friends were having sex, let alone telling us what sex looked like. Like, sex is scary when
Yeah.
you are devoid of any conversation about sex or
Yeah.
any like wherewithal warning.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that I'm the one having sex, Ron. I'm still having sex with partners that don't understand how the mechanics are supposed to look
It's like that
or
episode
work.
of Friends.
Yes, I also believe that TikTok calls it like rubbing the left flap and then asking you if you came. Like, and then TikTok, it's thousands of comments. They're always like, it's always the fucking left one. It's always the fucking left one.
Oh my gosh.
So I know I'm not the only one just like sitting there with new sexual partners going like, I don't think you know how this works. I don't think you know how this works. And
Because
then,
like anything else, it's experience and having
Mhm.
conversation and having a discussion with your partner of like, these are the, and that's the thing that pop culture I think does a really terrible job at doing, is showing that representation of like, let's have a conversation about like, again, going back to the Friends reference, because that's the first time I remember seeing it on TV when that episode aired,
Mhm.
was like, you know, Chandler's like, I'm worried. I share a wall with Joey. I hear what happens. Da, da, da. And then they go through all the androgynous zones. And then, you know, the first time he and his girlfriend at the time have sex, he's like, it wasn't that great. Like, she wasn't happy. So then Rachel and Monica walk him through it. And he's like, what? 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 And then the next time we see the situation, girlfriend's running into Monica's apartment, hugging both of them, thanking them.
Yeah.
But honestly, the onus is on the couple to have that conversation about
Mario is so confused.
Mario gets it because he's saying
Oh,
7.
7. I
Yeah,
thought they were
7.
question marks.
No,
I
no,
thought
no.
he was just like, what the hell?
Because that's
is
what
happening?
Monica's
That's what
doing
she
when
said.
she's, yeah.
7.
And so, but the onus
7.
is on the couple to have that conversation of like, here are the things that I like, and here are the things that this is like a no, like this is a no-go, you know?
That is why, while I thoroughly enjoy the show Never Have I Ever, this 3rd season pissed me off every episode. I go, there she is, just all in her head. We even have a fucking third-party narrator not telling these kids, like, this isn't how it should be. If she would have one conversation with any of them,
Yeah.
she would, like, all of this would be alleviated.
Yeah, but there's shame behind it. There's
Yeah.
shame behind having those conversations and being open about it. And it starts really when we see that with Rizzo. Like, Rizzo is like a confident woman. She knows who she is. She knows what she likes. She knows what she wants.
She's 43.
She's a 43-year-old confident woman, but she is shamed for all of those things.
Mm-hmm. Even though Annette fucked Danny too.
Yeah.
Did we clock that? Annette fucked Danny too.
Yeah.
They all fucked Danny, but then they wanted to talk about how Rizzo did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there are worse things I could do. Was like literally one of those anthems that I would like carry with me as a teenager. And it was the same with like Take Me or Leave Me from Rent. Like there are just these songs that strong, opinionated women get to latch onto because the world doesn't understand you. And I think there are worse things I could do would be the first one.
Yeah.
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 Because you're right. Like, what's Rizzo doing? She's just going on dates and she's getting fucked. And did she take Kanicki's virginity and that's why he had a condom since the 2nd grade? Because I looked at her going, oh, and it's like dawning on her that maybe Kanicki isn't actually experienced. And I'm like, I don't know, Riz, you're going to have to teach him the ropes, I guess. But then
Yeah.
that's what it is too about this, like, so like summer nights when like all Sandy wants to do is convince these people that a boy was nice to her, and then all Danny wants to do is convince his bros that he got laid. And I was like, and there it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're so gross about it. Like, was
Yeah.
she a good girl? Did she give it up easy? Excuse me? Are you saying that you should still go for it even after she says no? Because that's a problem.
That's a problem, Grace. It's a problem. At least they did call out their buddy for just like openly looking up people's skirts in the
Yeah.
bleachers. I
Yeah,
was like,
that's
well,
the
that
line. That's the
there it
line
is.
we wanted.
At least they did that.
We found the line. It's drawn at looking blatantly up women's skirts.
But again, it's such a double standard too, because here I am living in prudish America where no one is supposed to be touching one another. However, all men talk about is touching us, and I'm not allowed to have any control or the upper hand in that, because that is why Rizzo is a pariah. Not because she has sex with her boyfriends, because everyone's having sex with their boyfriends. She's a pariah because she actively seeks it out, and she always has the upper hand in it.
And she actively will tell you no when she doesn't want it.
Yeah.
And like, that's the thing. That's the difference between her and Sandy. Sandy doesn't know if she wants it. She's just saying no because she doesn't do those things because she's not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Rizzo knows her line and she's willing to, not willing, she knows when to say, back off.
Done.
Not today, Satan.
Not today, Satan. I don't need no more hickeys from Kaniki. The fact
they left that line in when we did it in high school. Like, that's like, there's so many things that kills me about watching this now as a grown ass adult, where I'm just like, you thought this was an appropriate performance for the senior class to do?
Grease is so like avant-garde in the like vulgarity that we couldn't make it through Grease Lightning without him taking the plastic and just like rubbing it on his penis, because they were like, that's where condoms go, and then he runs.
Yeah. The whole time.
You know, I love Glee. Remember when Coach Sylvester calls out Grease in Glee for being over-sexualized and inappropriate for the kids, and then she gets upset? Wade versus Unique wants to be
Rizzo,
Rossi. I don't know. I do remember that. Oh, thank you. I do remember that Glee episode. However, I am also the daughter of a hot mom who went to Footloose, the musical, at my high school, and became very upset that the woman who was playing the young lady who was playing the woman lead in Footloose could really make her hips go during The Girl Gets Around, and she did a great table dance in low-rise jeans, and my mom was angry. And she's like, it's just inappropriate for you guys to be doing it. I was like, but all of the people in these movies are our age.
Yeah.
Because there was a big like theme in media where like the teenagers are out of control.
Yeah. And I feel like that still kind of is something that we see, but not as backhanded, not as heavy-handed, I mean.
But even like, okay, so the school announcements are going on, and like Rizzo's starting a poker game, someone's putting a dead frog in someone else's bag, someone else is using a Bunsen burner to smoke. Like, no one is paying attention. No one gives a fuck that they're at school or whatever. I go, I can't remember. But like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Footloose. I go, that's how kids always used to look in school when they were in the media. And now, like, it's like a Mr. Feeney situation where whatever lesson the teacher is going over plays a pivotal role into the episode.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if that was the boomers trying to sort of like shake their parents' generation. Because their parents' generation, you know, World War II is happening and like all these things. So like there's this freedom that can't happen because there's a war going on, and
Oh,
buy your war
war.
bonds, and where's your victory garden, and Rosie, where are your rivets, kind of stuff. And then the war's over, and like the economic boom happens, and you have this generation who doesn't remember the war, but their parents do. So now they're like, so it's a culture clash because the parents lens is you're out of control, but really maybe they're not actually out of control. They just have more freedom because their parents' generation didn't have any freedom.
I mean, maybe. Plus, like after World War II and all of that, as you know, I am not a timeline expert. Uh-oh, you're frozen. That's fine. I'm going to write the banner. There you are. All right, here's my question. What was the biggest block to the Sandy-Danny relationship? Was it the T-Birds or was it Rizzo?
It was Danny.
I mean, also, yes.
I mean, true. I mean, I believe it was Danny because I find that his inability to be confident in who he is really gets in the way.
Which he's supposed to be top dog, and it's like, you don't even like yourself, Danny.
Exactly. He's top dog, but yet he can't stand up to these guys. He can't be honest with, like, no, you are not, you don't like yourself, so go fuck off.
To the point where during the dance off, he can't just tell Sandy, I fucked Cha-Cha too. I fucked every girl in this gym. Right. Okay? I fucked them all. Annette, Cha-Cha, Rizzo, like...
The principal, name it.
The little secretary who's grinding up and down on Ziggy. Like, I fucked them all. I fucked them all, Sandy. And if you haven't caught on to that, you haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, like, what tiny little town are you from that you don't get it?
To which, like, part of it is, like, I'm like, Sandy, this is on you, too. Because, like, you should have clocked it. And you should have also said, oh, did you date Cha-Cha?
Yeah.
And then, like, then it would have just been out there. And then, like, if you had also been cool about it, because this is an EV trope I hate. I hate when we're mad because someone got wild before they met you.
Yeah, that's the dumbest shit.
I'm like, why am I mad that you dated 3 other people before you met me? You were just sitting at a window pining.
Yeah, like, why is the expectation for us to be, again, puritanical before we meet you don't know who you are in dating until you start dating, which for some of us takes multiple attempts.
Right.
We're not all Corey and Topanga.
It should take multiple attempts. Also, Corey tried to make multiple attempts behind Topanga's back at a ski resort.
Yes, and also there was another, like, somebody posted today on I Am 30 on Instagram, another attempt where he was, like, quote, cheating. And I was like, because you have to try. You have to experience life.
Corey and Topanga are actually freaks. They're freaks.
The outlier is meeting your, quote, soulmate, should you believe in such things at such an early age. Like, that also, doesn't...
When I watched Girl Meets World, I actively told Jules that Topanga should divorce Corey. He's not great.
It was the worst. Ugh, he was so... Like, as an adult, I find Corey very, very frustrating.
Yeah.
But, it's that whole... Back to Danny, like, what got in the way of Danny and Sandy's relationship... I really do believe it was Danny because he allowed Rizzo and the T-Birds to get in the way.
Yeah.
And we see him in the beginning being so caring and so loving with Sandy, and he's clearly comfortable with who he is when he's with her, but then refuses to allow himself that when she ends up at Rite High, because he has a reputation to maintain.
A reputation.
Like, bro, your reputation can change. Like, it's like the whole point is to evolve and grow. Like, that's part of living.
I have never clocked how ferociously Rizzo goes after the Sandy Danny relationship until this watch through. I was like, oh, it wasn't even like 1 or 2 like sarcastic comments. Like, it was gunning
actual active.
Yeah.
Actions.
And I was like, what did you do, Zuko? What did you do to Rizzo? Now I want the tea.
Yeah, which we'll never get because the cast can never reunite.
Because some of them are dead.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I guess we could ask the playwright. I would just like to know what Danny did to Rizzo.
I
I
think
just
he's
like,
dead too. The original
I
stage
want to.
production's 1971.
I don't know if he cheated. I don't know if he wouldn't have sex with Rizzo and that pissed her off. Like, did she try to cheat on Kaniki with Danny? Because he
Is
says
I
something
always
about
understood it
sloppy
that can
seconds.
yeah, but okay, so that line kind of threw me a little bit because I always understood it as Kaneki and Rizzo getting together. This is their first go around.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand, oh, I don't do sloppy seconds unless he's saying that to intentionally be a dick because
Right.
really like Kaneki's the sloppy seconds.
I don't know. I don't know what happened between the Danny and Rizzo relationship, but I desperately want to.
We should write fan fiction
Oh my God, can we?
about what happened.
Well, what happened? What happened? Let's all speculate. What did
Mm-hmm.
Danny do to Rizzo?
What did
Um,
Danny do?
I I don't know if we should talk about the pregnancy of it all because it ended up not being a thing. I like how he told her that she shouldn't be on a Ferris wheel though.
Yeah, what was that? You shouldn't be on that Ferris wheel in
It's
your
because
condition.
Americans don't know anything about pregnancy.
I was like, I'm sure she's fine. I'm sure it's fine. Like, chill. Chill, chill, chill.
Speaking of the dance off, when I taught kindergarten, um, schools thought that they were doing me a favor by allowing my kids, the kindergartners, to come to an event earlier than everyone and then sit and watch the rest of the school file into the event,
No.
which is the opposite. You have
Yeah.
to rope off my section
Yeah.
and then have us come in. So to stave off mutiny, because the kids had to be patient or wait or whatever, I taught my kindergartners the hand jive.
Yes.
And we would do it every time we had to be be patient. Every time we'd have to be patient, I would just like hand jive. I'd be like, come on.
Let's do it.
And one time we were at an assembly and my friend was backstage because he was helping with sound or lights for the said assembly. And I was leading the hand jive with my kids. And I'm always just like focused. When you're a kindergarten teacher, you are only focused on your pleasant little group of asshats. And you're
Yeah.
like, no one's puking, no one's peeing, no one's anything. We are doing the hand jive. So then I heard my friend's very specific Nat look at me whistle. And I looked at him and he like motioned to the rest of the school. And I had somehow gotten everyone to do the hand jive.
Oh, I love that.
He goes, it started like very slowly, like just like a couple of the older kids were like
Yeah.
looking
They're
at
like,
one
we're
another
into
and
it.
you're like,
We're into it.
yeah. And they're like,
Yeah.
I mean, we gotta sit here.
Yeah.
And then because some of the other older kids were doing, then some of the other kids were like, I don't know, fuck it. I guess we're doing the hand job.
Yeah.
And he goes, and you got everyone to do it and you didn't know. I go, no, because I was like looking at my worst kid going, look at me, look at me, look at me. We are hand jiving and that is all we are allowed to do right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of love that. That actually, I do really love the gym scene where they are on National Bandstand, a ripoff of American Bandstand.
I love it.
In like all the dancing, oh, so much fun. Please, please tell me you were also the child who was like, I'm going to learn this dance and do it in the living room and irritate the shit out of everybody.
Did you learn the cha-cha leg move that I didn't think was this impressive during this go around? I was like, is cha-cha that good of a dancer or does she just have really frilly outfits?
And great legs.
And great legs.
Like all
Cha-cha was also 52. Like I was like, how old are these people?
We need mature adults to play in this movie because it's so vulgar. that scene, that dance scene, and then also obviously the end dance number too. Like those were the ones that I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
all right, move the furniture back. Julia's in the room. We're doing the dance.
I love that like Danny and Cha-Cha win the little contest or whatever, and they have to do a spotlight dance.
Yeah.
And Danny, like, instead of just going like, I should probably find Sandy, he just like like immediately goes into it.
I just feel like that's also probably true of just John Travolta.
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
Bless its heart. Let's remember that I opened the show by going like, is John Travolta another dude that they've just decided it doesn't matter if you can sing or not? You just get to be in the musical movie?
And when did Saturday Night Fever come out? Was that
Before.
79? It was before?
Yeah. That's what my therapist said today. I'm not sure though.
Because his outfit at the National Bandstand was actually very reminiscent of the 70s, which I was like, okay, you're letting us know this is the 70s rather than you're taking us out of 1959 with the way that his shirt is open right now.
Yeah. I like that scene because they all reacted as high schoolers should if a TV crew is at your high school where you're just like
100%.
following and you're just like doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially in that era because, you know, we didn't that, you know, this is a generation and several generations to follow did not grow up with like television at your fingertips in this way. So it's, you know, new, it's a novelty. Right. Whereas now I can like basically create a TV show from my phone and load it to Instagram and not act crazy. Oh yeah, what you were 1977, Saturday Night Fever is 1977.
That's why I go to therapy to be right.
So how do you go from Saturday Night Fever to playing a high school kid? Like, this is the thing that kills me. The 80s did the same shit because some of the cast in Breakfast Club 6 months later was in St. Elmo's Fire.
I love St. Elmo's Fire.
I mean, I'm not mad at it, but it's like one of those things when you look at who's in the cast of Breakfast Club and then you look at who's in the cast of St. Elmo's Fire, you're like, Emilio, you literally just had detention.
God. I will say that when it came to Vince Fontaine, Kaneki and Danny weren't great men, but they were men who kept the pervert away from their ladies.
Yeah, that's also
You're like,
true.
Pervert, you can go right back to Marty.
Oh, excuse me. In Saturday Night Fever, he's 19.
Oh my God.
But still, again, I don't believe that you're 19. Oh, it's on Showtime. Maybe I'll watch it this weekend.
Okay, we talked about the like grope at the drive-in, but we didn't talk about the grope at the drive-in. Number one, Danny goes into grope Sandy
with the arm.
In the same awkward ass fashion as Penelope, my cat will pretend like she's stalking up to me while making dead eye contact with me.
Which that move lives in infamy because
but like the
TV shows everywhere.
As 20-minute, like he did the robot before he landed on her boob. Danny, you piece of tin. I also love the trip because
Sandy.
Because men still do this today. Like she's upset and she's pouting in the car and he's apologized and he doesn't know what else to do. So he goes, I know, a trinket. And he just like, I'll make her my girl with my ring.
But then he also thinks that that's going to get the green light.
Yeah.
To get dirty.
Even though she said, now I know that you respect me. And I was like, no one respects anyone, Sandy, in the 50s.
No. Because no once doesn't meant try again. No once meant try until you get it.
So I guess there is a case to say that like Danny wore Sandy down until she was like, fine, I'll wear leather pants.
Which, joke's on you, because these are going to be real hard for you to get off.
My God. But yeah, the drive-in scene.
Yeah, that was intense. Like, first of all, like, I wish drive-ins still existed.
Oh,
I mean, in the winter time, there's one nearby, like, that will open up in the winter seasons. Because it's too hot in the summer to try and do a drive-in, like triple digits or whatever. And that's fun, but they only do like kid-friendly movies.
As you know, I don't like going out with children.
So I'm over here like, how are we supposed to get it on in the car if you're only showing kid-friendly
Right.
movies?
Rude.
Not that I would get it on in the car. It's, you know.
Probably not now. Because of all the bending my body would be forced to do.
You know that some car, like,
I know cars are huge now. They're practically bedrooms at this point.
yeah, like my front seat, the passenger seat actually will lay all the way flat.
Yeah. Like, maybe that's what we should start asking potential partners on dating apps is their car.
Do you have a car? And if so, does the front seat fold down all the way? Oh my God. I don't think I could ask that.
I just want the lowdown. Like, can I get down in your car? My car, no.
I drive an SUV, so we could actually put the back seats down and have like a whole like station wagon situation.
Well, I guess you and I should trade cars if you're going to be such a Sandy at the beginning of the movie that you can't even get down in a car.
Oh.
Clearly, you haven't dated enough men who live with their parents.
Well, I was always the one living with my parents. That's
Well,
why. It's like, you have your own place? Let's date.
let's date.
Doesn't matter that you're a pile of garbage.
A pile of garbage.
We can hang out somewhere without parental adults because.
Do you think that the majority of the movie is actually told through Danny's lens?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Between the drive-in and the diner scene where he's trying to hide them from through a menu. When it's not Olivia Newton-John singing a solo or Danny is just like absent from the scene, it is mostly from his lens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I think that's, you know, a byproduct of the writers being male.
Yeah.
Because they've never, this is my opinion. Take it or leave it. When you have an overactive imagination and you kind of like wonder what it's like to be something else, you know, you can create characters that are unlike you, right?
Yeah.
But when you have a write what you know lens, it makes other characters flat because the one character that's you is clearly fleshed out because you're filling in everything about you into that character.
Right.
But you're not imagining what it's like being the other characters. So you're only getting a snippet. So that's what makes, you know, the story through in my opinion, through one person's lens. And I struggle with stuff like that because as we heard on something earlier today, you know, when all the characters are really well-rounded and fleshed out in a way that you can like really be like, oh, that person could 100% be this person in my life. That's what makes brilliant writing.
Yeah.
I don't think Grease is brilliant writing. I think
it's
vulgar writing.
Grease is the word that you heard.
And also the shit people put in their hair. So it makes it really hard to run your hair through their fingers. Trust me, I've dated greasers. We have not had that conversation.
Can we now? Is it FaceTime call now where we just unhinge the show and we're like, look, tell me more about these greasers. What are their names? What are their addresses? Like, what are their rising moon signs?
But Grease is fun. It's a fun sing along. It's a fun thing.
It's the same. It's the same with Mamma Mia. I don't need Mamma Mia to be fraught with tension.
Yeah.
Mamma Mia is a musical that's written from ABBA songs.
Yeah.
I don't need it. I don't need it to be Phantom. I don't need it to be Alexander Hamilton. I don't need it.
And honestly, like you could have just put ABBA songs with Grease backgrounds, with Grecian scenes, and we would have been fine. And we would have loved that too.
It could have literally have just been Meryl Streep twirling for 2 hours. Remember when here's what I can't stand about movies. Remember when they advertised Happy Feet as this like 2-hour music video with penguins, and then you got to Happy Feet and it was actually an it was actually propaganda against zoos. And I was like, I didn't want to be depressed today.
Yeah.
I came to Happy Feet.
So funny story. That was the first movie I took my child to the movie theater for, because we love movies. Like, you know this. Like, we're a movie heavy family, grew up watching movies. My dad's obsessed with television. Like, it's a genetic thing. So it's like, great, you're old enough that you can finally sit through a movie, and it's a kid movie.
Yeah.
25 minutes in, he's like, no, and gets up and starts to leave.
I was Baby J in that situation. I too was like, what the fuck?
Honey, like, maybe he wasn't ready to sit through movies. And we were talking about it recently, and he's like, I hate that movie so hard. I was like, funny story. Told him exactly what I told you, and he's like, looks like I've had good taste for a long time.
Yeah,
fair.
So when you say we're going to make a musical using ABBA songs, I would find it odd if that musical was about the Rwanda crisis.
Right.
It would be inappropriate. Right. So if we're just doing diner doo-wop songs, then you have to lean into the greaser thing.
So there was this group that used to tour churches called the Convertibles.
Oh my God.
And I think they contributed to my Grease obsession because they would come every year. We bought the tape, the cassette tape. I listened to it on repeat, knew every fucking song, not realizing that they had taken like soda shop songs and sort of like rewritten the words to be a little religious. It's fine.
Like Scamilton. Man, y'all, so I am so in deep on Scamilton.
Yes. Hold on. Put a pin in that real quick. And so they would do a play every year. They'd come and do a musical every year with these like bebop songs or whatever you want to call them. And here's the thing. Can't tell you one fucking thing about the theme of the show, because all I remember is the singing and dancing, because they had very little story happening. I mean, because we just wanted to hear your version of the Temptations, really. Like, or not the Temptations, that's too late. But like
Frankie Valli.
Yeah. The Convertibles.
Yeah, I'm so deep on Scamilton.
Yeah, you sent me a bunch of stuff because I was like, what are you talking about? And I love Lin-Manuel's
where he's like, lawyers will do what lawyers do. And I'm like, that's the most gangster thing I've ever heard say out of anyone's mouth.
Also, that's like, don't come for me because I will fuck you.
Like, I thought Disney was the scariest guy around. It might be Lin.
It might be Lin-Manuel.
But then they unearthed that this isn't the first time. They also have a Greatest Showman about God.
Oh my God.
And like, it's an adult playing Hugh Jackman's show. He's like in his 40s. And he's like, ladies and gents, this is a moment you're waiting for.
No.
So they did Greatest Showman too. And it's like the audacity that you believe that Alexander Hamilton had anything to do with your God.
It's like, let's skip over the First Amendment. Right? Let's skip over it, where they clearly have outlined we do want separation of.
My God.
We will not allow religion to dictate the rules of this land, which is ironic because really they did. They really did allow it.
They really did. Also,
but the point is they created doctrine that said, don't allow it.
They wrote something down. And we choose to bring it up every once in a while. The thing about it all is I do feel bad for those kids, because now those kids will always be known as being the like really bad singers in the Scamilton.
Yeah, and then
it's like, why would you set kids up like that?
Yeah, because I went to church with kids who were like, I'm gonna go and have a career on Broadway.
Yeah. And the entire time they saying like, Jesus Christ, superstar. Or like Russell Crowe in Les Mis. Or Pierce Brosnan in Mamma Mia. Will you call me baby?
Or
don't you
John
need
Travolta
me?
in Grease.
SOS. I'm just saying that when Sandy asks him if he's ever thought about professionally singing, he doesn't have to change his voice that much to do the like bad part of the song. And I was like, John Travolta knows he can't sing too.
But yeah, he got cast in additional, because he was in Hairspray.
He was, but I don't think the person who plays the mom in Hairspray, I don't think that that is a role also where you care if the person can sing or not. Like that was just stunt camp casting for the movie. People wanted to see John
But
Travolta in drag.
yeah, okay, fine, fair. But in my opinion, every cast member should be able to
Yes,
sing.
no, that is also my philosophy. Don't do Footloose if you have no dancers in your cast that year. Save it.
Save it for another
Put
year.
it on a shelf.
Or, bring in a dance trainer
Or
the year.
bring in that guy from Bring It On. But no, like the Scamilton thing is all over my TikTok. I'm like, you all have to stop sending me clips of these poor
Well,
children.
it's because you fell down that rabbit hole. So now the
I
algorithm
fell
is like,
hard.
Natalie loves
Because
Scamilton
here's the thing too, they didn't change enough of it where like
for it
you
to not be
immediately
copyright infringement.
right. For you to like they didn't change enough of it at all for it to even be comical. So you're just sitting through a child very badly singing Satisfied, and you're literally just waiting for her to drop Bible verses, but they're never coming. And then at some point she goes, "My God above," and then that's it. So you're
You
like,
know,
that's why I always get sucked in because I'm like, ooh, how did they make Wait for It about
they didn't.
virginity?
They didn't. They
And they
didn't.
didn't.
Spoiler alert. They
They just
couldn't
like
figure it out
they just
because they're
wanted to
not as
rip off
brilliant.
Hamilton.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying that they're the first people to rip off Hamilton. I'm sure that there are podunky little theaters places that think that they can be getting away with it before Lynn unclenches those rights. But in the age of TikTok, you cannot. You
No,
cannot.
no, and we've had this conversation, but in context of comedy, where it's
Yeah.
like I would 100% be the performer who's like, guess what, bitches, you're locking up your phones.
Yeah. When John Mulaney
No,
asked
none of
me,
this is ending up on any of your social platforms.
when John Mulaney asked me on Thursday to put my phone in a pouch that I would not have access to for the entire show, I was like, you know what, John? You know what? You did it. You had an intervention, you went to rehab, and you took a year and you made it funny. And I don't deserve to share that with anybody. Like
Yeah.
I will put it in the baggie.
Yeah.
However, I was the only person who still got to have a selfie at the John Mulaney show because that's what happens when you know people who work at the theater. So as soon as my bro came over to say hello, I was like, "Hi, we're taking a picture." I would still like to stunt for the internet.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I feel like yeah.
Yeah. So like the thing of it is too is when it comes to Lin-Manuel Miranda's content and musical library,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that there are people who should be doing it and people who are doing In the Heights that shouldn't be doing it.
You
And
know
they
what I
know who
want
they
to
are.
do with my life at some point? I would love to be able to just spend a couple of months in New York hitting every Broadway show I
Oh
can.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But like maybe hitting them in previews so it's not as expensive.
Correct. That is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Or
Because
just be
where I
rich.
live, we don't even get the touring cast. We get the second touring cast who's like
Oh,
touring at the same time, but smaller theaters. So you don't even get like the greatest touring cast. You get these guys, bless their hearts, they work really
bless their
hard and they're
hearts.
doing a really good job. But it's like
Sometimes
when
there are
you
differences.
it's like when you watch TV and it's not Pepsi because they slapped a label over it
Yeah.
to be
You know when
Pepco or whatever the fuck they called it.
when you're at a
Cola,
bar and
blue
you ask
cola.
for a gin and coke and they gave you a gin and RC and you're like,
Yes.
"Oh, I can tell the difference."
Yes, that's 100%. And I feel awful saying that because I would
Oh
100%
yeah,
probably
100.
be the second tier that does the Podunk City tour.
Listen, there's no one who supports anyone who's living on the road like that than me. But there are differences. Um,
Because we saw Hamilton. I went and saw it with a friend. I can't believe I just called that person a friend.
Nope.
In
Whoop.
San Francisco. And when you order it from Wish, oh my God, I'm dead.
Right. It's Hamilton, but you ordered it from Wish or Shein.
Mario for the
When you
win.
order from Shein, but you forget to read the reviews and look for the pictures only reviews.
Oh
That's what
my
you got to do on
God. Did
Shein.
you see all the stuff about Shein and like the toxicity of their clothing? Oh my God.
Is it poison?
Okay. We'll digress in a different way.
Is my t-shirt poison? Do I need to
um,
go
I don't know
change?
how high the levels are, but like there's all this stuff floating on the internet about the toxicity. I'm sorry, friend. I forgot you ordered from them.
I've only ordered once. Just stop. Ordered. I've only ordered once because I needed graphic tees because
Yeah,
of my
well,
new career trajectory.
yes. Back to Grease Lightning. I feel like the live version,
Mm-hmm.
which I haven't watched, is the version from Wish. I'm saying that without having seen it, which is probably like the most ignorant thing. But that's what the internet's for, to say things without any info,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I should watch it and then come back and be like, no, I was right, or I was wrong. This just in. Natalie's shirt is probably poisoning her.
I hope I
not
go
funny. I
quick.
shouldn't be laughing.
Okay, listen. I don't want. Here's the thing. Good. Okay, Vanessa
Okay,
Hudgens, you did a good
Grease
job.
Live was good? Really, Mario?
I don't watch them. I don't
But
watch them.
Mario, you know what? His opinion is good, though. Like, we've only disagreed on a handful of things, but that's taste preference. Like, he's a good marker for when something's
Yeah.
quality.
I don't watch the live musicals because they make
Because
me
the
mad.
Sound of Music with
That was the last one that I
what's
could
her face,
do.
Underwood, was so bad.
I was enraged, and then I thought, do I become one of those people who just live tweets their rage on the internet, but then everyone else got all pompous, like, well, at least they did something. No.
That's rewarding bad behavior. We do not reward bad behavior. That Sound of Music version was so bad that if Christopher Plummer, he was alive when it happened.
He was alive.
But like, it's like, no, just no. Sound of Music is one of the best films, musicals of all time.
And it's so long. So we had to sit through Carrie Underwood. I mean, I didn't because I turned it off after 7 minutes.
Girl can
I
sing.
love her.
Girl's got pipes, but acting is not her thing. Bless her heart.
And that was the last time I watched one of the live ones because they pissed me off and I was tired of being angry. And then I was like, oh my God, am I one of. So I know it's not actually happening, but because I typed it, I'm like, is my shirt giving me a rash? Is it like.
Maybe take the ticker down so that way it's not
maybe,
reminding you, and
maybe
then that way you
David's
don't like
bridal gave me a rash.
you don't like psycho trip yourself into.
Is my rash from Shein? Is it from David's bridal? We don't know. We don't know.
One time I went to go get, because there's this bakery in town that makes fresh macarons every day, the French ones, and that's like my favorite dessert in the whole entire world. And I went in and I was like, oh, what are your flavors today? And he rattled off a bunch of flavors of coconut. And I was like, oh, I'm allergic to coconut. I can't have any of those. And he's like, oh, this one doesn't have coconut. And I was like, but it's in the cabinet. And it's like the edges are literally touching each other. Yeah. So I just better not. And he's like, well, what happens? First of all, that's not a question you ask somebody when they just tell you they have a food allergy.
What if I lifted up my shirt sleeve and it was just like raw skin the entire time? I'd be like, Jules, you have to send me those clickbait articles when they have something to
Mario's
do with
allergic to
me.
coconut too. Mario, literally, people tell me that I'm in my head about being allergic to coconut. And I'm like, yeah, because my feet, my hands, and my face swelling up is in my head. And then sometimes like red and splotchy, and I'm very itchy. Like, no, don't act like my coconut allergy is fake just because you don't know anybody like with it.
You like cabin fever. I have to admit, I have to guess that that has something to do with my impending rash.
Now we have digressed into a FaceTime call.
We truly have. Let me scan my notes one more time to make sure that there wasn't anything. Oh, John Travolta doing a tough guy walk, even when
Ugh,
he's trying
like
to
he had
bounce a
it was like
basketball.
it was like he had a butt plug in or
I
something.
know. I'm
Like
like,
no disrespect to butt plugs, but like you know what I mean? And like it was that moment of like, did I put something up there for you to walk like that?
we didn't talk about Marty catfishing dudes in the Marines.
Was it
And
catfishing?
I grew up to catfish a lot of dudes on AOL chat, and I'd like to thank Marty.
Have you listened to the most recent episode of Pod Meets World?
No.
When you do, girl, you message me immediately. My backpack just fell and it
Oh,
startled
I thought
me.
it was Josephine.
No, she's by the door. Poor thing. It's
Poor thing.
it's not as hot today as it has been in days past, but I'm just like, I would like to wait until the sun's like behind the trees before we venture outside.
Well, I guess the time has come where we take Greece and we rate our comfort levels with Greece again. So, how comfy, if you are still comfy, are you with Greece?
Listen, this movie makes me so uncomfortable.
I know, me too.
But, not but, having said that, I will still fucking watch it.
I will go back
Which,
to not listening to the dialogue.
what does that say about me now that I know that it is a horrific movie?
It is really uncomfortable to watch. I don't know
It's
if I can
so
watch it anymore.
uncomfortable.
I don't know if I can watch it anymore, and if instead I just need to stick to the soundtrack. But then there like
But
are
there's stuff
horrific
in
lines
the
in the
songs.
soundtrack.
The chicks will cream for Grease
I like that the chicks
Lightning.
will cream is what you think is the most horrific line in all of Greece. That the
It's
fact that women are getting wet over
that's not what
like
I think.
greaser cards.
That is
cars.
not what I think is the most horrific line, but I don't remember it from
Oh yeah.
before. So it's like when that line happened, this time is like, why don't I
That's the
remember
only
that line?
that's the only line I remember from Grease Lightning. It's like the one that they emphasize the most. I don't think I can watch Grace anymore, mostly because it takes me out of my suspension of disbelief to be watching 40-year-olds play teenagers. Like they
Yeah.
just look really old.
Yeah.
And
But
then they're
you got to give it to Olivia Newton-John though.
I
She
love
was
Olivia
so good in
Newton-John.
this
She was the
movie.
youngest looking one,
Yeah.
and she was so good. And she was so good. And they all did. And Stockard Channing was good as Rizzo. I mean, she is always cemented in my head as Rizzo. But I have come to the age where I'm like, oh, I guess I can't watch people who look like me play teenagers
Right.
anymore doing teenager bullshit.
Yeah. With that said, Natalie and I are both available for any high school
Again,
television show or movie you are looking to cast.
there are worse things I could do than go with a boy or two. I completely lost that. Hire me like you hired Pierce Brosnan for Mamma Mia.
I mean, really?
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I
You know
mean,
what? It will be a really good test to see if I could watch it again if
I
it's
don't
on,
think I
because I
could.
used to never turn it off if it was on, but we'll see now.
And then part of it too is that Grease isn't actually that witty or interesting. Like I was actively getting bored in between songs. Did we talk about that? I was getting bored in between songs. Like usually I try to not play with my phone because we're supposed to be working.
Yeah, taking like I like to take notes and I like to be like come yeah, uh-huh. I literally have very few notes for this.
Yeah, Grease. It's
It's
kind
full
of
of
boring.
doodles. This page is full of doodles.
It's not very witty and it's not very funny. So when you have to sit there, and I thought that the songs happened in more rapid succession than they
Right.
actually do. So when you're just sitting through minutes
Yeah.
of 40-year-olds being teenagers
Mhm.
talking about relish on dicks,
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't know. I had such a soft spot for this one.
Everybody does. It's a
Everybody
cult
does.
phenomenon for a reason. I mean, people lose it. I told you know, and it's fine,
Hmm.
okay, but when you analyze it through the pop culture makes me jealous lens or through the men I've tolerated before lens, you know, it's clearly problematic. I mean, we didn't even talk about how fucking white this movie is.
Oh, it is very white. Um, I don't know if you all know this, but 1950s, that was just like a very white decade
Yeah.
in our country. There are never people of color in that decade.
No, clearly there's, you know, we
No.
didn't exist until even after they integrated schools, we still didn't really exist. Um, but yeah, you know, it'd be interesting if somebody gave it a 21st century refresh with without being like thoughtless about it, because like the
Yeah.
John Legend cover of Baby It's Cold Outside is trash. That song is trash. They never should have made it. It's trash. But if somebody was to be thoughtful about Grease and
Hmm.
working it in a way where you do have a diverse casting, diverse setting, especially Chicago. I think it's supposed to, I think the original play is set somewhere in like the Chicago area. So I'm just like, well, there's hella black people in Chicago. Like, come
Right.
on. I think that it would be really interesting to see, you know, not colorblind casting. That's not what
Hmm.
I'm saying. I'm saying rework Grease to be less vulgar, be smart about the sexual innuendos, like not vulgar about it.
Yeah.
Like an intelligent version of Grease that's entertaining. I would love to see
I would
something
love
like that.
that. But please also know that I get pissed off when things are over censored. So when I went and saw it in Indiana and they were like bypassing dirty jokes and not cursing, and they like took out "You're the One That I Want," I was like, well,
Yeah.
then why do Grease?
Yeah, see, that doesn't make sense to me either, because then you're losing the essence of what's
Right.
happening, because the point of the show is to see this guy who's in this completely like underbelly subculture that nobody respects and nobody has appreciation for, but he's still kind of cool in his social setting, but he's a subgenre,
Hmm.
make the conversion to catch and reclaim, I'm saying that deliberately,
Right.
this girl who's pure and beautiful and lovely and like what we're all told we need to be, but at the same time she's going through her own transition to meet him in his subculture.
Hmm.
So like when you take out those things and censor it down, then you're losing the transition and the
Right.
growth.
And like, let's be clear, teenagers are trash mouths. And they do talk stupid because they don't know anything. So
Yeah.
they just talk stupid.
Yeah. Well, and you know, there's teenagers do a version of code switching too, right? Like we all
Yeah.
know code switching is very like a thing that the, you know, black community is, you know, famous for. Um, but you know, we do, not to co-opt it, but every culture and subculture has their own version of code switching. And you know, I saw that with my own teens group of friends.
Yeah.
Like they knew how to behave in front of me, quote, and then the minute I am, you know, out of sight but still within earshot because the apartment's small, they're going back to being, you know, teens.
Yeah.
So there's like a point too where I'm just like, you I guess, you know, I guess I think that Sandy would be in AP classes if AP classes existed in
Yeah.
1959.
No. So yeah, I'm not really, I guess I'm just not interested in being comfy with Grease anymore.
Yeah,
So
I
there
get
you have
that.
it.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm not sad to let it go. I mean, I'm not going to stop Hopelessly Devoted to You if it comes up on my playlist.
Mm,
So it's just like Elvis. I'm not sad to let you go and to realize that you are a cultural appropriator, but I'm
yeah.
still going to listen to Hound Dog.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you get the chance to watch that Mariah Carey video,
Yeah.
Hopelessly Devoted with her and Olivia, oh, so good.
Yeah. So you done good, Olivia Newton-John, and you did your best with the hand that was dealt to you when it
Yeah.
came to Grease.
Yeah.
So thanks for letting all of us secret hoes know that at any moment we could put on our leather pants.
Just make sure it's in the winter time,
In the
because the
winter
minute
time.
you sweat, those fuckers are either
Just sealed.
not coming off, or if you finally
Fused to
get them
you.
off, not getting back on.
Yep. All right, Jules, tell everyone again where they can find you.
All right, friends, you can find me on the gram. That's where I spend most of my time. The Julia Washington, THE Julia Washington. You can also find my show on Instagram, Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous, same name. You can find the podcast wherever you find your podcasts and listen to it. This week we are in our summer rebroadcasting mode. So this week I think we are revisiting our discussion about Moxie, which is the Netflix original. It's based on a book. So I love a book to screen adaptation. Last week we revisited Mean Girls, so that's a good listen. Should I do our plug for tomorrow?
Yes, since
We
it's
never
on your channel.
Yeah. Natalie and I will be live on Instagram tomorrow night, Tuesday, August 23rd.
23rd.
We will be discussing the first 2 episodes of the Prime original, A League of Their Own, which is an homage to, or a different version, or different facet rather, of the movie based on the All-American Girls Baseball League that ran from 1943 to 1954. We will be live on Instagram on my channel, Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous. You do not want to miss that, because Natalie and I both fucking love the 1992 version of A League of Their Own. So we're very excited to dive into that conversation. That's 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. And then the replay will happen whenever we finish our FaceTime call on that show.
And then I'm Natalie Katona, your hostess with the mostest and your Midwest Hollywood hot host of To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. We drop episodes every Thursday. This Thursday, it will be one of my friends and I writing romance novel synopsis on the fly based on Tinder dating profiles that I found. And last week, it's a real good episode. It's called Twilight Sucks Hard, because I'm funny. And it's all about how Stephanie Myers damaged young women from coast to coast when it came to those sparkly vampires. But yeah, and then A League of Their Own tomorrow. All right, everybody. I'm ready to kick it. Stay cozy out there. Stay comfy. Or don't. What if it sucks? Put on your hoe pants.
Put on your hoe pants. Grab a cup of tea.
I'm going to go see if my skin is melting off for my cheap t-shirt.
We'll